Hello and welcome to the Calmcast, a time to feel calm and think clearly. I'm Claire Downham, the Queen of Calm, a transformational life coach. I was a burnt out head teacher who finally made the journey to calm after years of trying, and I want to prevent you from having to do the same. The Calmcast is a series of short explorations, gently guiding you back to your natural state, which is calm and clarity. Just listen like you would listen to music, with an open mind and curiosity. There's nothing else to do. Now let's relax into today's episode. So today I'm talking about how to know if you are stressed. And that is because yesterday I wrote about how to feel less stressed, but somebody pointed out to me, because I posted something on social media about this, that that a lot of us don't even know that we're stressed. I think a lot of people think that life is supposed to be lived at this ridiculous pace, and that what they're experiencing is just kind of the consequence of that life is like this, and therefore if I'm not sleeping or I'm not feeling so good, it's okay. And so I did a little bit of research on the physical symptoms of stress. I'm aware of quite a lot of them, but pretty much your body can do pretty much anything, it turns out, physically in response to you being really stressed. You can end up, I've experienced quite a few of these in the run-up to burnout. If somebody had sat me down and said, how many of these symptoms have you actually got, Claire? I would have had a fair few of them. So sweating, particularly at night, I've been through that quite a few times in my life. I remember when I took a promotion when my little one was only just under one. Took a promotion, don't ask. And I went through a little phase then when both my children were very small. And I was working full time, and I started sweating at night and got some help from a nutritionist. So that's one of the things. And disruptions to your cycle, if you're a woman, disruptions to your ability to perform in the bedroom, if you're a man or a woman, itches and rashes. But one of the things that for me was really prominent in the run up to burning out was sleep. I just couldn't sleep. I was so wired and jittery all the time that I couldn't actually sleep. So there is an article I've been looking at today on the Mind website about the physical signs of stress and the emotional ones, of course, because as we become more and more stressed, we get irritable. We're not very nice perhaps to be around. We might be more emotional and tearful. I remember myself being quite emotional as I was running into burnout. Now, what I would say about all those things, the physical and the emotional consequences of running our systems kind of full of adrenaline and cortisol for too long, is that's way down the line. Like I don't wish for anybody to get to the stage where there are physical consequences, that we are generally in a lower mood kind of state, because of course often one of the consequences of being stressed for a long time is depression, generalized low mood, anxiety, all those kind of things. And isn't it sad that, like, many of us get to burnout like I did without having a clue that there was anything wrong? I remember when I was burning out, and I went to the doctors many times about my sleep, about nothing else. I didn't want to discuss anything else. I didn't think there was anything wrong with me. Just thought I'd developed this. When I'm saying it now, I'm almost laughing to myself. I thought I'd developed this mystical sleep problem that had just come from nowhere. That suddenly my body had forgotten how to sleep, and that wasn't to do with anything other than my body had forgotten how to sleep. So I would go to the doctors and I would say, they'd say, "Oh, how are you feeling?" And I'd just be like, "Just make me sleep and then I'll be fine." That's all you need to do. That's your job, doctor, person. You need to get me to sleep. But not only did I speak to doctors about that, I tried all the lotions and potions, literally lotions and potions and tablets, in order to try and get myself to sleep. None of which really had that much impact because, of course, my system was absolutely revved up to the hilt. So those symptoms are what I like to call downstream. Like that is, there's stuff happening before that we could become more aware of, so that we don't end up down that path, into feeling really sick and burning out, not being able to sleep, and generally being a bit grisly to be around. And that is our in the moment state of mind. So we are amazingly fortunate as human beings, because we have these horrible emotions. We have them, don't we? We don't like them, really, do we? We try to get rid of them all the time. What a mistake that is. Because we have this amazing system, this psychological system that works really cleverly, in that our negative emotions, let's call them, the ones I mean, are there to provide us with information, to let us know about our state of mind. And if we can start to develop an awareness of that, an awareness of where our state of mind is, what happens then is we kind of naturally find ways to reset, to get ourselves back to calm. Not anybody else's ways, but we find our ways. So I was speaking to a client recently who said, sometimes he notices he's feeling revved up and he just reads a book. He's noticed that that's something that just seems to allow his system to reset. Sometimes it is something like a distraction type thing. But it starts with knowing what's going on. Not in a really not in the pokey proddy way, but just knowing that if you've got fast thinking, which is definitely something that is implicated in stress, if you've got low mood thinking, if you've got just a lot of thinking, your head feels very full, your body's going to kick off and let you know about that. What a clever system. And that's the only place that any of the kind of physical, emotional, riled up feelings, that's the only place any of them come from. They come from our state of mind. And you can get really tuned in. I often say awareness is your superpower. You can get really tuned into this. You can start to be like an awareness ninja, where you are, because you're becoming riled up about something, you find a way to settle yourself back down. And sometimes it can just be like, I spoke to somebody yesterday who said, oh, I just got so caught up. I'd been to this, she'd been to a really negative sounding conference, and she said she just couldn't stop thinking about it. But then I'm going to just put that in a box over there, tie a ribbon on it and put it to the side. And that was her metaphor for just, I need to not think about that anymore. And that's the key, is that when we understand this system and how it works, the choice opens up. It's like suddenly we seem to have a choice. Whereas when we think it works outside in, it doesn't look like we've got a lot of choice at all, really. Somebody's being a you-know-what, then I feel rubbish. My boss is being difficult, I feel stressed. I've got a tricky client, I feel stressed. And it's coming from them, so there's nothing I can do about it. But once you realise that it doesn't work that way, that your emotional response or reaction is telling you about your state of mind and not about anything else, then it suddenly the choice appears where it wasn't there before. If you think it's coming from the outside, looks like you've got no choices, doesn't it? When you realize it's coming from the inside, you have choices. For me, I had something happen a few weeks ago where somebody sent me a quite unpleasant message and I got quite riled up. And a few weeks before that, I would have picked up the phone and had it out with this person. But I didn't, because and I then developed this awareness that, I'm riled up and I won't have a good conversation. I'm stressed about this. I'm not liking it. I feel ugh. So I didn't have the conversation, which of course meant that I didn't get embroiled in my already dodgy thinking. I allowed myself some time and space and it just all passed. I didn't do anything much about it apart from distract myself doing just something that was needed doing, but didn't take much of my creative power, as it were. And it's seeing that we've got this perfect system. It has developed perfectly because we are perfection to let us know about our state of mind, that in any moment our feelings will guide us in that. And it's just super powerful, and it's way back upstream from the horrible physical and emotional symptoms that then become, especially the physical symptoms seem quite embedded, seem quite difficult to shift. It's harder to go back from there. If we're up here in this awareness phase, kind of going, hang on, I'm riled up now. And then there's something to do to help ourselves settle. It's not getting to the stage where we've made ourselves physically and emotionally sick with being stressed over a long period. So hopefully that's interesting and helpful, and again a different perspective on stress. We need a different perspective, because the one we've got right now doesn't seem to be cutting it, does it? Anyway, lots of love, and enjoy just getting curious about this and about yourself, and use awareness as your superpower. Thank you so much for listening. There's nothing to do now but bring some awareness to how this is working out in your life. Listen regularly to experience longer and longer periods of calm. This has been the Calmcast with Claire Downham, Queen of Calm. Take care and keep listening.